What is up? Welcome back to the Self-Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Ross, and this week we are going over the 5 fundamentals of peak productivity and performance. Now let's get right into it. So, I want you to imagine, right? Sit back, relax, get a cup of coffee, cup of tea, water, whatever you're doing. I want you to imagine that you're walking along a golden and sandy beach. You're walking along, the sand's beneath your feet. It's nice and warm, not too hot. The sun is shining on the back of your neck. 100 meters from the beach over to your left, there's a village. This village has plenty of open and solid land. Why are you walking along this beach beside this village? Well, you are trying to decide where to build your dream house. This dream house is everything you could think of. High ceilings, marble countertops, open plan kitchen, swimming pool, whatever you want in your house. This is it. It is the perfect house for you. It's exactly what you want. Now my question to you is, you are walking along this beach. You're trying to decide where to build your dream house. The beach or the village? Which would you choose? Would you choose the beach? Nice golden sandy beach. Or would you choose the village with solid and open land? Well, the answer is obvious, isn't it? You would choose to build in the village, right? Well, why? Well, you've got solid open land to build on. You can build strong and deep foundations that will last a lifetime and likely multiple lifetimes. But if you build on the beach, everything is going to sooner or later collapse. When you build on the beach, you've got nothing solid or stable underneath. You've got no foundations or nowhere to build foundations. If you're building anything, you need foundations. Whether that is building your dream house or whether that is your productivity and performance. Strong foundations are a necessity. You need something that you can rely on that is not going to collapse in a week, a month, or even a year. Okay, we're in this for the long game. If you don't build your foundations, everything collapses. Okay, eventually it might be a week, might be a year, but everything will collapse if you don't have your foundations. And in terms of productivity and performance, that's when you burn out. You see, burnout, most people have burnout confused. Burnout is nothing but the inability to manage your mental and physical states. And to manage your mental and physical states so that you don't burn out, you need solid foundations. Without these foundations, it is only a matter of time before everything falls apart. It could be a week, could be 6 months, but it will happen and it will ruin any chance you have of achieving self-mastery. Which, brings us to what I like to call the optimization paradox. You see, what most people do is skip straight to the top. Let's imagine you're trying to build a pyramid. You have to put the bottom widest layer on, then one on top and one on top until you get to the very top, right? Most people try to skip to the top. They try to optimize everything in their life. Tips, tricks, all this here. And sure, optimization is great. But if you don't have the fundamentals or the foundations built, what are you optimizing? Like seriously, ask yourself right now, what are you optimizing for? And what are you optimizing? I get asked all the time, Ross, what's wrong with tips and tricks? Because I often, on Instagram, Twitter, go after tips and tricks. So then I get asked, Ross, what's wrong with tips and tricks? My answer is pretty much always the same. Nothing is wrong with tips and tricks. But tips and tricks are for optimizing. And you can't optimize nothing. You need to build your foundations. Now this creates what I call the optimization paradox, where you get caught in a cycle of tips and tricks trying to optimize, yet something isn't right. You can feel it. You can feel that something just isn't right here, but you don't know what it is. So you decide to optimize some more. That's the issue. You're not making progress. Everything's feeling blurry. You have no clarity and you can't make progress. So, right, what do? I need to optimize. So you decide to optimize more and more. And so it creates a never-ending cycle where nothing's getting fixed and you keep trying to optimize. It also creates a habit. It gives you the impression that you can skip the fundamentals of anything you want, anything you try. So if you try to build a business, you can skip learning business fundamentals, which, are sales, marketing, fulfillment. And because you end up building the habit of skipping building the foundations, you end up never achieving anything because you can't make progress. So whether it's a business or whether it's in chasing self-mastery, you can't make progress. And the problem, the actual reason that you do this, that you try to skip to the top and optimize for tips and tricks and not build the foundations, is because that it's hardwired inside of you to conserve energy. Your body is a survival machine and wants to do everything to conserve energy So therefore, makes you take the easy route, the path of least resistance, the path that requires the least energy. And that equates to you skipping the foundations, because the foundations are hard to build. They're not easy to build. They take time, they take effort, they take energy. That is exactly why they're so worth building, but it's also exactly why you automatically go to the path of least resistance and don't build them. Optimization, on the other hand, no time, barely any energy. It is easy to do. You can try to optimize from the get-go, from right now, and implement something right now. But like you now know, without putting the time, the effort, the energy into building the foundations, optimizing is useless. You have nothing to optimize, and hence you're trying to build the top of the pyramid without the bottom bit. So everything is going to eventually come crumbling down. Could be a year, could be 6 months, could be tomorrow. You will lose any sign of progress that you've made. And because you lose any sign of progress you've made, you feel crap. You feel demotivated. You start to question if you really can do this, if you're really cut out for this. And you will end up quitting. Luckily, when it comes to building foundations require what I call front-loaded time. You put in the work now, and then it's just a matter of maintenance. You put in the work, the energy, the time. Now, you build the foundations, and then they're easy to maintain. The hard part is the building. Maintaining them's fine. You delay the gratification to build something that will support you for the rest of your life, and then let you optimize. You have something to optimize once you build these foundations. But building these foundations, building this support, requires you to do something that you don't want to do. And that is take the path of most resistance. Time, effort, energy, sacrifice. These are all required to build these foundations. It's hard. Trust me, I know it's hard. I've been there, I've done that. But it is worth it. If you want long-term success, you need these foundations. If you want success that lasts for 1 month, be my guest. Don't build these foundations. Keep doing what you're doing. If you want to be successful for the next year, 10 years, 20 years, the rest of your life, you need these foundations. You need them, and you will come up with all these excuses in your head because you don't want to build them, because you're hardwired to take the path of least resistance. But everything will eventually come crumbling down. And you mightn't think it, because it mightn't happen tomorrow. It mightn't happen next week. It might happen in 6 months. It might take a year. But everything will eventually come crumbling down if you don't build these foundations. Put in the work now, okay? And look, of course, when it comes to understanding the importance of building these foundations, if you've been through my life tapping and conscious alignment process, which I do highly recommend you go through if you struggle to align your actions with your dream life and goals, there's a link to that in the description below if you're interested. This whole process of building foundations for anything, so whether it's business, self-mastery, productivity, performance, relationships, anything in life becomes so much easier because you're able to link the importance of building these foundations to the dream life and goals that you have. And you can link them and you can see why they're important and you see why you need to build them, and it becomes so much easier to do. Again, link is in the description below if you're interested in my Conscious Alignment Hub. And look, like I said, if you want short-term success, you don't need foundations. But short-term success doesn't last long. And there's no point being successful for 1 minute. There's no point being successful for 1 month. You need to carry that success throughout your life in the long term. That requires foundations. You can optimize bad habits and behaviors due to a lack of foundations and potentially get short-term success before everything eventually comes crumbling down. But if you want long-term success, progress, productivity, mastery, you need these foundations to be strong. Everything else is built upon them. Everything you need. Without them, your success, your productivity, your progress, your level of self-mastery will all collapse. Now, when it comes to peak productivity and performance and mastery and success and progress and all of that good stuff, all this stuff that we want to achieve, there are a few essential foundations that you need to build. The first one is sleep. Sleep is the most important behavioral foundation you can build. Without sleep, you can't control your mental and physical states adequately enough, and that is going to lead to burnout. You're going to collapse. You cannot lack sleep. I don't care if you think you can run on 5 hours sleep, 6 hours sleep, you can't, okay? Eventually, like I said, your foundations mightn't collapse tomorrow. They mightn't collapse next week. Keep doing this. Keep lacking on sleep for 6 months, a year. I promise you everything's going to fall apart. You need to prioritize sleep. You need 7 to 9 hours every single night of high quality sleep. So to build the foundation of high quality sleep, there's a few things you can do. One of the things is avoiding caffeine 10 hours before bed. Look, caffeine has quite a long half-life, 6 to 8 hours. Some studies say 12, but I'm going to go 6 to 8. So if you drink caffeine at 12 p.m., half of that caffeine is still going to be in your system at 6 p.m. A quarter of it is still going to be in your system at 12 p.m. Okay? So you need to cut out caffeine 10 hours before bed if you want high quality sleep. And trust me, yes, you might be able to sleep 30 minutes after downing a double espresso. I can sleep 30 minutes after downing a coffee as well. The quality of your sleep is hindered. So cut out caffeine 10 hours before bed. You want to also supplement magnesium and zinc. Both magnesium and zinc help with melatonin production, which is basically the sleep hormone. You then want to avoid blue light. So blue light is pretty much light that is emitted from your phone, your laptops, your computers, your iPads, that sort of stuff. And obviously blue lights like I have in the back, 1 hour before bed. Cut all of them out. Blue light, so any light that's blue from any device, triggers neurons in your eyes which are associated with daytime, preventing melatonin release and ruining your sleep. So cut out blue light 1 hour before bed. You then want to get sun exposure when you wake up. Sun exposure as early in the day as possible. So depending on when you're waking up, the sun might already be up, it might not be up. Either way, as soon as you're able to get sun exposure for 10 minutes every morning, okay? This is going to help wake you up. It's going to help control your cortisol levels and set your body's internal clock to go to sleep 16 hours later, when you want to go to sleep. Next thing, this last one is so obvious when it's said, but most people don't do it. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every single day. So you go to bed at 9 p.m. tonight, go to bed at 9 p.m. tomorrow night, and the next night, and the next night. If you wake up at 5 a.m. this morning, wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, and the next morning. Your body's sleep is basically controlled by your circadian rhythm. It's a rhythm. It wants to be in rhythm. It wants to be consistent. So have a consistent sleep schedule, going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time every day, and keep it consistent if you want good sleep. The second foundation you need to build is training. You need to be training, and specifically you need to be lifting heavy fucking weights and getting a pump on and getting strong as fuck, okay? This is essential. Obviously training has all the obvious benefits, so like improved confidence, physique, self-respect, all that good stuff, but it also helps with mental clarity, energy, and staving off burnout. You see, a lot of people think, oh, I'm training, that's going to stress my body, that's going to make me more likely to burn out. It's not. You see, exercise actually relaxes your nervous system after the training, of course, through the release of endorphins and anandamide. Now, I can't tell you exactly how to train, obviously. There are tons of factors that go into how you should train, but in general, as long as you're lifting weights 3+ times per week, hitting every muscle group, so don't be skipping legs, do pussies, squat, focusing on compound lifts, so exercise that hit multiple muscles, so squat, bench, deadlift, rows, that sort of stuff. And if you're new to the gym and in the financial capabilities to do so, I highly recommend getting a coach. It will speed everything up, okay? Your next foundation is nutrition. You are what you eat. If you want to perform well, you need a high quality diet, okay? If your whole diet, if all your calories come from fucking McDonald's, you're going to feel like crap, you're going to perform like crap, okay? Your energy levels are going to be up and down. If your majority of your calories come from high quality whole foods, so steaks, chicken, rice, fruit, that sort of stuff, you're going to feel and perform so much better. You are what you eat, okay? So you need to be getting 90% of your calories from high quality whole foods. My go-to, I pretty much just eat the same food every day. I eat steak, chicken, rice, and fruit. That's pretty much it, okay? Then also consume 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Look, if you feel tired and you're getting 7 to 9 hours of high quality sleep every night and you're lifting weights, I can guarantee you feel tired because you're not eating enough protein. I can almost guarantee protein is essential for recovery. We all know this, yet most of us don't eat enough. Okay, so yes, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So me, I'm 185 pounds. 85 kilos, so I think that's 185 pounds. I need to be eating at least 185 grams of protein per day. I tend to eat up around 200, 220, simply because, I like meat. I'm basically half carnivore. Also, one of the things people always say to me, oh, Ross, 1 gram protein per pound of body weight, that's too much. It's not. Honestly, it's not. If you are 400, 500 pounds, it might be too much. But if you are a relatively normal sized human, it's not going to be too much. It is going to be perfectly safe, okay? Now, your next foundation is focus. If you can't focus, so macro and micro focus, you're not going to be able to progress. Now, I actually did a whole episode on focus, so I'm not going to rehash all of focus, because there's no point to be wasting your time, and I've already done a video on it. So I will put that video either up in one of these corners if you want to check out how to optimize your focus, both micro and macro focus and compounding focus. Of course, wait to the end of this podcast before you check that out, but it is there for you to check out. Your final foundation is prioritization. Life gets messy. Life throws shit in the way. It loves to keep things fun and spicy. It doesn't want you getting bored, okay? It keeps throwing shit at you. Everyone has so much going on in their lives. If you cannot prioritize, if you cannot look at the macro and be like, okay, this area of my life and this goal, these are my priorities. Everything else comes after it. And then you can't look at the micro, so you're looking at tasks. Okay, this task is the most important task today. This task is second. This task is third, so on, so on. You will never get anything done. You will never achieve anything. You will never make any progress. I highly recommend using the Eisenhower matrix for a brief overview of prioritization. It's super simple, but it is a really good way of getting a bird's eye view of what actually matters right now for you in your life. So highly recommend combining the Eisenhower matrix with daily time blocking. Super effective daily time blocking. I plan every hour of my day. Highly recommend you do too. Whatever gets measured gets managed, so do it. Or of course you can also check out my Get Shit Done system, which is a part of my Conscious Alignment Hub, which we mentioned earlier. So again, link to that in the description below. Now, once you have all these foundations built, okay, so once you have your sleep foundation built, once you have your training foundation built, once you have your nutrition foundation built, once you have your focus foundation built, and once you have your prioritization foundation built, you can then optimize with tips and tricks, okay? But if you try to skip any of them 5, okay, so if you try to skip sleep, training, nutrition, focus, or prioritization, everything is going to come crumbling down eventually. Again, might be tomorrow, might be 6 months, might be a year. Eventually it's going to come crumbling down. And if you want to win in this life, if you want to be disciplined, if you want to be relentless, if you want to become self-mastered, if you want to have all the fancy watches, all the fancy cars, if you want whatever you want in your life, okay, whatever you want, you need to win. And to win, you need these foundations, because there are other people out there that you are competing against, who are playing the same game as you, who are in the same avenue of business as you, and they have these foundations built. They're going to win. Okay, so you need to build these foundations if you want to progress and succeed in any area of life. Now, folks, so my Mastery OS program is also launching next week, depending on when you're watching this video. If you want to enroll in that there before enrollment closes, it's only open for 1 week. A link to that will be in the description below. And if you enjoyed this podcast, click like, leave me a comment to let me know what you think, so that I know that you're enjoying this shit and so that I can do more of it, okay? And all links to everything else is Self-Mastery Letter, Conscious Alignment Hub, free dopamine detox guides, all in the description below. If you're interested in any of that, check it out, and I will see you in the next video.